The following is a book summary of Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. Jordan Peterson is a clinical psychologist and he has a lot of clinical experience in dealing with people and helping them fix their problems. Follow these rules and you may end up with a much better and sorted out life. Unlike most book summaries, I'll inject some of my own personal views and experiences as I go along. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell notification. Let's dive right in with the 12 rules. Rule number 1 is stand up straight with your shoulders back. Multiple studies that have shown that just correcting your posture increases your confidence and self-esteem. The author goes on to show an example using lobsters. When they win in a fight, they stretch out and make themselves look bigger, and a chemical called serotonin is released in their body. When they lose a fight, they become smaller and their serotonin levels go down. The same brain circuits that govern the lobster's behavior also governs our behaviors. This means that if you stand up straight with your shoulders back, you will feel better, and in a way you will feel like the top lobster. Other people will treat you in a better way, and of course your self-esteem will also increase. Stay away from those bearing butter. Rule number 2 is to treat yourself like you would someone you are responsible for helping. Imagine how different your life would look if you treated yourself with the same amount of love. Most of us are not that kind with ourselves. This doesn't mean only doing things just to please yourself. This also means doing things that you know that are good for you. You would encourage fatties who are on a diet to not eat that donut. If you love yourself, and are on a diet, you should tell yourself the same thing. Rule number 3 is make friends with people who want the best for you. Rule 3 is pretty obvious, but most of us get this wrong. The people you surround yourself with will determine how you feel about yourself. If you have toxic friends, or a toxic girlfriend, who do not want the best for you, then you're not going to go very far. If something goes well for you, like a big promotion, and you tell your friends, the toxic ones will not be happy for you, or they will say something like, well, that won't really change your life. You should surround yourself with people who genuinely want the best for you. This means that even if you're doing something wrong, they'll correct you, and if you're winning in life and doing something right, they'll be happy for you. Rule number 4 is compare yourself with who you were yesterday and not with who someone else is today. Perhaps this is why some leftists and feminists do not like Jordan Peterson. If you are comparing you to yourself, it's much harder than playing the victim card and blaming someone else or some big bad group. Heaven forbid there be some self-responsibility and accountability. The end result of comparing yourself to someone else today is that you are never happy. We think about how someone got better grades, is smarter, has a nicer job, nicer house, or simply makes more money than us. You have to realize there has never been a human being on earth exactly the same as you. Every single human being has had a different life, so then how can you compare yourself to them? The point by Peterson makes perfect sense when I think about feminists. They group people together as if they all have the same life, and are always comparing themselves to a group called men. When they compare themselves to what they were 5 years prior, is the difference the number of slut walks they participated in? Or perhaps they will see how much prettier they were before they dyed their hair blue and decided to become a feminist, as shown in my previous video called Top 10 Women Made Ugly by Feminism. If you are always improving, and getting even slightly better than you were yesterday, then you are on the right track. Rule number 5 is do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. You should not let this slide, because if there is something that makes you not like them, then you can be very sure that the same things are going to be the things that are going to bother other people. And that can cause a lot of problems for your children. Rule number 6 is set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. or mankind. We all know someone who criticizes the government and institutions for all of their life's problems. I had a friend who would go on and on about how the world was unjust to her. She would tell me about all the ways in which people were bad and about how this world was just a bad place. But think about it this way. What gives you the right to criticize the world for ruining your life if you haven't done everything you can to fix your life? If you haven't put in the effort to make your life better, then how can you expect the world to fix everything for you, if you don't like your life right now? The following line from Peterson's book is something I just put into my online calendar, where it will ask me the following every few days. Ask yourself, what is it that you can do on your own that can make your life better? A pretty simple reminder, but how many of us ask this basic question? Peterson goes on to say, stop thinking you're better than everyone else in this world and actually try to make a difference in your own life. At least try to do it for a week before you say something bad about the world. Rule number 7, pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. This is something that most of us are guilty of. We usually try to do the easy thing, the thing that will give us the quickest results. We try to take the work that makes us the most money, that gets us the most amount of fame, etc. But our brains are wired for meaning. Like Viktor Frankl says in the book, Man's Search for Meaning. Our brains are meaning-making machines. All the money in the world isn't going to help you if your life is meaningless, so always strive to do things which are meaningful. Think more long-term, instead of just looking for short-term gratification. Rule number 8, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. A society works best when everyone is honest with each other. If you're in a relationship, and you and your partner don't tell the truth to each other, then that relationship is basically meaningless. Rule number 9 is assuming that the person you're listening to might know something you don't. What you don't know is more important than what you do know. Most of us walk around thinking that we know everything we need to. This is a surefire way to stop learning. But the amount of knowledge that exists in this world, there is no way that you can know everything. So whenever you're talking to someone, assume that that person knows something you don't. This way you can have a real conversation with that person, and actually learn something from them instead of always trying to defend your ideas. Reminds me of feminists. Either you toe their party line, or you are a misogynist. Rule number 10 is be precise in your speech. The more exact you can make your speech, the more focused your thoughts are going to be. If you're not precise in the way you talk or communicate with people, or you're not able to make a point, then you're not going to be successful in society. The people who can make the best arguments, and can present the best stories, win. So you definitely need to learn how to be precise in your speech. Rule number 11 is do not bother children when they're skateboarding. A lot of people try to stop children when they're playing, especially when they think that the game that they're playing is dangerous. As one would expect, you should stop children from doing something that is actually dangerous, but sometimes children try to do things that pushes their limits. It just might be that they're curious. When they all try to jump to see who jumps the highest, they're all pushing themselves, competing with each other, and becoming better. The spirit of pushing ourselves, doing something that might be slightly dangerous, is there amongst all of us. Don't try to stop that. That is where people learn to become extraordinary. Rule number 12 is pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. This rule is about enjoying the beauty of life. Sometimes there can be terrible events in life and the suffering can get too much to bear in those moments. You have to find beauty in the little things about life. If a dog wags its tail at you, play with him, give him something to eat. Look at the happiness in the little animal's face and learn to be happy yourself. If you're going through rough times, Shorten the time frame. Don't think about surviving a whole year, think about making it through the next month, or the next week, or day, or even the next hour. When you break it down into time frames that you can manage, you can get through things that you could never have imagined. This concludes the book's summary of Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. The link to the book is down below. Is this a book you would buy? Leave your comments below and tell us why or why not.